Would you be comfortable being in a relationship without sex? There are people out there, guys. A woman wrote to an advice columnist at Slate saying she and her husband are perfectly fine without sex in their marriage. She says she only doubts herself because the rest of the world is so obsessed with sex. So would you all be okay with having a marriage and a long-term relationship that does not include sex?
Okay, in this situation, I read this advice question. It sounds like this person is okay with the amount of sex that she's having, which is none. She says her husband says he's okay with the amount of sex that he's having, which is none. So if that's what turns them both on, not being turned on, then I'm okay with that. I will say in this question, for me, there were some red flags because she said that her sex drive dropped after a traumatic pregnancy. Sometimes she finds sex a little bit scary, and she said she feels really guilty about it. So to me, all three of those suggest that there's some kind of emotional turmoil happening with her where maybe the pregnancy, she needs to work through the trauma of the pregnancy, because I don't think sex should be scary if you're with a consensual beloved partner. And the fact that she feels guilty to me says that maybe her husband is not convincing her that he's okay with it. I mean, I will say in my lived experience, men are not shy about letting you know if they want sex. I feel like they can be quite, pushy for the nookie. So if he says he's okay, I'm gonna tend to trust that he's probably okay. But just in case, if she has such strong feelings, I think this couple needs to work this out. And for me personally, I mean, there are times in my life when I would have been like, no, unacceptable. And then there are times in my life when I'd be like, I don't know, I could have a sandwich. So to me, it's like you just want to find that match with your partner where you're both on the same page. And for me, like that relationship wouldn't work because there's just too much drama. I like to get things out into the open. I want to talk about it. I want to make sure we're on the same page. I don't like guesswork. I don't like heavy emotion. So for me, that one's a no, but it's not actually because of the amount of sex. It's because the communication feels very closed off there.
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions about this because sex is something in a relationship that for me personally makes me feel more loved. We have like love languages, and I'm like a physical touch kind of girl because if you touch me, it means you love me. So if we take sex out of the relationship, it makes me feel like I'm not wanted and that you don't want me and that you're not attracted to me, which is an awful feeling because one time I dated this guy who right after we had sex, let me just put my headphone in for this one. Right after we had sex, he told me he wasn't attracted to me anymore. So when I hear about Miss Thing not wanting to have sex because she's scared and because she has trauma from her pregnancy, well, guess what? I have a good therapist. I'm going to forward you the email because it's clear that it's an actual issue that you're having within the relationship versus somebody who just isn't really a sexual person, because there are people I've met that just are okay with doing it on birthdays and anniversaries, and that's okay. But for me personally, like sex is something that lights a relationship on fire, especially in a monogamous relationship, because that's the one thing that you share. You can go to the club and you can flirt with whoever you want. People on Instagram send you nudes, cool. But at the end of the day, when we're in the sheets together, that's the one thing that you and I can share, not with everybody else. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, wait, I'm sorry. People on Instagram send you nudes? I've never gotten a nude on Instagram. Your life is so much more interesting than mine already.
Let me tell you something. Welcome.
Nicole, be careful what you wish for.
No, take it back.
You
Put
don't.
the genie back in the bottle. I don't want it.
Take it back. I would put that back in, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Let's move on from the nude conversation.
I'll just say quickly that no one talks about the ebb and flow in long-term monogamous relationships, and that you're not broken if you go through periods of time where you're not interested. I think in this particular case, this woman has had a trauma that is worth looking at, but I think we need to manage expectations when it comes in long-term relationships, that there's it doesn't necessarily have to be the best sex you ever had every single time. It's not going to be. It can't be bombastic all the time. It's just not sustainable. But hopefully you get to a point where you can, learn to stoke your own fires. You figure out what works. You're still your own lover as well. And I think that's the only way we can really, truly enjoy long-term relationships and go for it, Kayla.
Cynthia,
Kayla, come in.
I mean, I don't know about you. I'm going to be knocking boots till I'm 90 years old. Okay? That's all I got to say on that. This is why I stay quiet on the subject, because you guys take it away.